Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola back in the Stitches and Slapdashery sewing room. And I have a wonderful sore throat right now. When did I last record for you? I think that was Thursday, and it's now Sunday. And I have had a sore throat these last few days and some bad headaches. And I haven't been sleeping well because, you know, when you've got a sore throat, you're constantly trying not to cough, and it's hard to swallow. And yeah, generally feeling a bit under the weather. It could be worse. Let's face it, it could be worse. So I'm thankful it's not. But yeah, I'd made an effort to have a shower and get dressed this morning because I knew that would make me feel better. And I made an effort to come down here and do something. I did do quite a bit of knitting yesterday, but it felt like a lot of the day I was just sitting on the couch looking at a screen, whether it was my phone or the TV. And it got to be a bit tiresome. So I have taken a pile of vitamin C and zinc, plus my usual other supplements, and I'm going to have a little play. I'll show you what I knitted so far. So this is another of my let's bust through some stash things. It's a small item, so it's not going to use a huge amount, but I have this partial ball or skein of this Lion brand respun in the colour Alpine, which I absolutely love, a dark teal. Now the pattern I had decided to make for this a few weeks ago when I was looking through my stash and trying to allocate it to projects is the One Day Hat by Years Lee, Y-E-R-S Lee, L-E-E. And I'll obviously link to it underneath the video as usual. It's a very, very simple pattern. I think that even though this yarn qualifies as an Aran weight in the Ravelry database, as does the yarn she uses for her hat, this one I think is considerably thinner. This is, to me, not very thick for an Aran weight yarn. It's definitely more like a worsted. Yeah, maybe a British Aran, but definitely not a North American Aran. So this is coming out quite a bit gappier than I would have liked. So you start with some ribbing for this beanie, and she says to do 6 centimeters. I did 7.5, which is 3 inches, just to make it a bit longer for more folding up ability. And then the rest of it is just a really simple cable pattern. I don't know if it's too dark to see. Hopefully you can see that. So you're just crossing your cable every 9th row. So, so on the rows or rounds, when you're not crossing, it's just really simple. You're just knitting the knits and purling the pearls. So very, very easy. But I don't know if you can tell how thin that fabric is. Because it's ribbing, obviously it's going to stretch like crazy to fit, but it will also then get even gappier. I don't know if you can see how thin that is. When I'm looking at it with the ring light behind it, it looks very thin indeed. Obviously there will be 2 layers of the knitting when you're wearing it. So I'm going to be knitting until the cabled section is 8 inches. What's that in centimeters? 8 to 16, about 20 centimeters. Yeah, 20 centimeters. And then I will do the crown shaping. So I haven't got to that part yet. I think she's Korean, and I think that with English presumably not being her first language, excuse me, there are some spelling mistakes in the instructions, but I don't think that's going to be causing any issues with following the pattern. She spells length, L-E-N-H-T, each time. So I think it'll be okay. And even though she called it a one-day hat, I've been working on this for 2 days, purely because I haven't exactly, spent a lot of time on each session. You could totally do this in a day. If you were wanting a last-minute gift for somebody, I would suggest using a thicker yarn than I did, so that it's more smooshy and squishy and, yeah, not so gappy. But I'm persevering because I want to use up this skein, and I might even see how much this beanie takes, and then I could make maybe a second one, but double strand it, so it would be bulkier, and it would probably still fit fine. Yeah, I don't usually dive into making the second version of something too often, because I like to mix it up and keep it interesting. But you never know. So let's just put that aside for a minute. After I showed you last time those fun little stamping things I did with the rubber stamps and the Derwent ink tents, I've made a sample little drawstring bag. Now, sidebar, I was thinking of buying some pure linen, 100% linen, from a website called Pure Linen Envy, and having definitely got my friend interested in them for buying linen for her curtains for her bedroom, I'm now wondering whether it really is a sensible thing to do. The price per metre of the linen, the one I was looking at, is called the Everyday Linen, in a lovely colour called Country, which is a very neutral sort of greyish oatmeal-y colour. I know, not like me at all, right? But perfect for something where you want to do some painting or some embroidery on it. And now I'm thinking, if I spend $20.50 a metre on it and then have to pay as much again for shipping and tax, is it worth buying? If I do 2 metres, then the shipping is the same. And I haven't tested it yet, but I was going to go and see, okay, what's 3 metres? Is the shipping still the same? Because as you add an extra metre, if the shipping remains the same, then the average per metre comes down. But I've decided to be a sensible crafter, and I am going to go around a couple of thrift shops this week. I was hoping to do that this weekend, but I didn't really feel up to going to any of the shops yesterday. I don't know if you've ever had that tickly cough where you just can't stop coughing and your eyes are streaming and you think you're going to throw up. Well, I'm terrified of having that sort of issue. When I've got a sore throat, which I think is just a cold, I'm pretty sure it's nothing more serious than that, I don't want to be going out in public and then risking that cough. So I'm putting off the thrift shopping until later in the week. Assuming I feel better later in the week and I am doing my work shifts, I can definitely fit in some thrift store shopping. Hard to say, thrift store shopping around those. And I'm going to look for something linen-y. It could be a garment, or it could be a sheet or a tablecloth or anything which has the right sort of feel to it, which is feeling like a natural fibre, not too thick, considering I want to do a little bit of stitching through that, plus what's behind it. And I'll know it when I see it anyway. So I'm not going to splurge on the linen as yet, although it is very lovely. So let me show you the sample I made. I did learn something important from making one, because the plan for this is to potentially make 28 of them, one for every day of February, to donate to the silent auction for the festival that I help with every year. So this is it. It looks very cute with its little foxy stamp on the front. What I will do next time is I will make the drawstring channel wider. I only made it 1/2 inch wide, and I wasn't really thinking about the fact that I had to get my bodkin through it. Where's my little bodkin? I know it's here somewhere. There it is. So this is the sort of bodkin I use, and it's fairly chunky. And not only did I have an issue threading the first one through, but then I thought, oh, this is great. There's already a cord in there. I now have to struggle and get the second cord through alongside it. So I will definitely make the channel to be 3/4 of an inch, not 1/2 inch. I also didn't put my walking foot on, and because the denim had a little bit of stretch to it, I got a little bit of puckering across the top when I did my top stitching. So with this little bit of linen, the only thing I did with it was did a bit of running stitch around the outside of the linen square and added a little flower. I didn't use any sort of interfacing or fusible behind it. I'm wondering if that might have been a good idea to use a bit of heat and bond on it, because if I heat and bonded it, there'd be less fraying, because the way that one is right now, the linen is going to fray quite badly around the edge, and it might end up coming off as a result. I don't know if my running stitch is going to be enough to stop it from fraying past that point. So that's another thing I need to consider. It's cute though. So what I will do in future is I will be cutting it a little bit longer. This is this really, really quick and easy drawstring bag method that I used, and I can't remember where it was from. But I did, I incorporated how I made one into a video a little while back. And you just cut one long rectangle. So there's no seam along the bottom. One long rectangle for the outer, one long rectangle for the inner. You put them right sides together, sew the short ends, and then you just scooch them around so the seams match, and then sew around, and you leave a little gap for where the drawstring needs to go on your outer, and a bigger gap for the inside where your turning gap needs to be. Very, very simple and quick. And the little frill, or whatever you want to call it, on the top is kind of cute. So I may play with that today. I'm going to keep it very low key and fun today. Nothing that requires too much brain work. But I'm going to play with some things. I think what I would like to do is do a bit of gel plate printing, because I've got those 2 new colours from Speedball to play with. So I might do that. And as for what else? Oh, there was something else. Tori from Cool Kooky Creatures had a really fun idea recently called neurographic painting, I think it was. So what you do is you just do some random watercolor painting, just splodges of color. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And when that's dry, you take a black pen and you just do really weird sort of lines across it. And then you take another pen, so maybe a thicker pen, and you start filling in the corners. And when it's finished, it looks like something out of the human body, something like out of your brain. It's really clever and effective and simple. So I might start with that, because the watercolor would have to dry before I did the black line. So I think that's what I'll start with. So to save my voice, I'm just going to put the overhead on. Well, put my phone into the overhead instead of onto this tripod here. And I'll just film whatever I do without talking. Otherwise, my voice is going to run out. I'm joining the group of people who are attaching their microphones to weird things in order to talk to you. My scissors work perfectly. So that was an amazing few hours of creativity that took my mind off feeling crappy. I feel like I've done a bit of everything today, and I hope you enjoyed coming along for the ride. I'm not sure how I'm going to edit all that because it's a lot. Probably some of it will be speeded up, a little bit will be chopped out, and I'll try and find some nice music to listen to. But hopefully, if you didn't like my music choice, you'll have just like muted it and put something of your own on. But hopefully you made it to the end, and thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And next time I see you, hopefully I'll be feeling a lot better. And I hope you guys are all well, healthy, and happy and crafting away as well. See you soon. Bye for now.